for actually being candidates. I've run for office, and it's not easy. Campaigning is a tough job. I cannot imagine campaigning in the unprecedented circumstances we have this year, when personal contact is limited and the ability to interact with your voters is also limited. So thank you for being a candidate for the offices that you individually seek. I'm going to ask each of you to come up in no particular order except what they've written down here for me, to give us a couple of minutes about yourself, your background, and why you're running for office. I'm going to start with our clerk of court, Radita Smith.
Good afternoon. I am Radita Smith, your clerk of Superior Court for Burke County, Georgia. I am a lifetime resident of Burke County, Georgia. I am the daughter of Dr. Christine Green. I am the granddaughter of Spurgeon Green and Maddie Bell Cobb Green of Midville, Georgia, where I was raised. I am a 1991 graduate of Burke County Comprehensive High School, and also a 2009 graduate of Augusta Technical College, where I received my associate's degree in paralegal studies. I am the proud mother of 4 darling, beautiful children, Ashley, Alfonso, Maya, and Jada. I am a member of the Phillip Grove Baptist Church here in Waynesboro, Georgia. I am your candidate, and I am also your current clerk, having been elected in May 2016, where I served in the capacity as your Superior Court clerk, but also comes with the role of being the clerk for Superior Court, also State Court, Juvenile Court. I am your jury clerk, so when you receive those nice summons in the mail, that's compliments of me. I am the Board of Equalization Administrator, and I am also your passport acceptance agent.
Thank you. Next up is, oh, by the way, Karen Ellison, who is Radita's opponent, is not with us today. Next up is Chief Magistrate Judge Andrew Palmer.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Andrew Palmer. I'm currently the appointed Chief Magistrate Judge. I was appointed in May 2020 by unanimous decision by the Superior Court judges of this circuit. Prior to appointment, I practiced law as an assistant district attorney for the Augusta Judicial Circuit. I graduated law school in 2017 from Georgia State College of Law. Prior to law school, I attended Augusta State University for undergrad. I grew up in Burke County. I'm a lifelong Burke Countyan. Grew up in the Vidette area. I attended Burke County schools, K through 12. Have a lot of great role models and people who actually poured into me and saw to it that I could graduate and live and do really well in life. Played football for the Burke County Bears, graduated in 2009, and then went off to Augusta State University. I never stopped living in my community. Love this community, love the citizens of the community, and I'm absolutely excited and proud to serve as your Chief Magistrate Judge. And I look forward to 4 more years. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Also, Cynthia Kelly and Portia Washington, the other declared candidates in this race, are not present here. Next is incumbent probate court judge Rex Myers.
Thank you, Mr. Chalker. My name is Rex Myers, and I am the current serving probate court judge for Burke County. I'm a 1988 graduate of Burke County Comprehensive High School. I went to the University of Georgia, where I graduated with a bachelor's in criminal justice in 1992. I have a master's in criminal justice and police administration from Eastern Kentucky University, and that was from 1993. And finally, in 1998, I graduated from law school from Mississippi College School of Law in Jackson, Mississippi. I'm licensed to practice law in the state of Mississippi and in the state of Georgia. I returned back from Mississippi in 2000 and opened a law office here in Waynesboro, where I did general private practice, family law, criminal defense, probate, real estate transactions, juvenile court, and other miscellaneous functions. In 2003, I was hired by District Attorney Danny Craig to come work in his office as an assistant district attorney. And for the next 17 years, I've prosecuted felony criminal cases in Richmond, Columbia, and Burke counties. In January of this year, the previous probate court judge, Preston Lewis, decided that he was going to retire early. Judge Carl Brown, Superior Court for the circuit, appointed me to serve as his replacement, and I've been serving in the probate court since February of this year. My wife, Tessa, is a deputy sheriff at the Burke County Sheriff's Office, and she and I live near the town of Gulf. We live out in the country on dirt road. We are members of the Gulf Baptist Church, and I'm also allowed to serve as a deacon there. Thanks, sir.
Next up is Ashley Moore Jr.
Good afternoon. My name is Ashley Moore. I don't want anybody to be stuck in the mud or assume that I'm just pursuing a smile. So my name is Ashley Moore, and I'm from Burke County, Georgia. Born and bred all my life. I'm married to my lovely wife, Nakia. She's a teacher at Burke County Middle School. I have 4 kids, Nailani, AJ, Karan, and Kamari. I'm also a local pastor here, pastor of a church called the Rock Church. We've been doing that for 8 years, going on 9. I'm also a associate magistrate judge under Chief Magistrate Andrew Palmer. I was appointed by Judge Sterling Wimberly, and I've been a lifelong community advocate here in Burke County. So I'm not just somebody that you're just now seeing. I've been doing this all of the time that I've been here. And so I just wanted to introduce myself. Allow me once again to reintroduce myself. I'm Ashley Moore.
Thank you. And we're going to move on now to the Office of District Attorney. We're going to start with the incumbent, Natalie Payne.
Good afternoon. My name is Natalie Payne. I am currently serving as the district attorney for Richmond, Burke, and Columbia counties. I began working in the circuit really right out of law school. I actually worked for about 8 months for free as an unpaid intern in the solicitor's office in Richmond County under Harold Jones. Then after that internship, well, actually once a position opened up at the district attorney's office, Ashley Wright hired me to work as an assistant district attorney. That was in the early part of 2009. And I have been in that office ever since then. In 2017, when Ashley Wright was appointed as a Superior Court judge, Governor Nathan Deal appointed me to serve as the district attorney for the Augusta Judicial Circuit, and I have enjoyed serving the past 3 years, and I look forward to continuing being the district attorney after November. Thank you.
Okay, next up is the Democratic nominee, Jared Williams.
How y'all doing? I'm Jared Williams, and I'm running for district attorney in Burke, Columbia, and Richmond counties. I'm a pastor's son. I was a little boy that would act up in church and get whooped in the pulpit. I am the grandson of an auto mechanic and a high school janitor. I know about hard work, and that's exactly what it's going to take if we are going to change this criminal justice system and make it fair for everyone. I'm happy to be able to say that we have an opportunity in this county and throughout the community to actually change the criminal justice system. Not just to make history, but to bring real change. Because Burke County kids belong in classrooms, not courtrooms. Burke County's young people need to find job sites so they don't wind up in jail cells. And Burke County deserves a district attorney who respects, reflects, and protects the entire community. I'm Jared Williams. I look forward to serving you in that role, and I appreciate your vote. God bless you.
Okay, incumbent commissioner, County Commissioner Lucius Abrams isn't here, but his challenger, Rodney Braswell, is up.
Good afternoon. I want to introduce myself. My name is Rodney Braswell. I'm the son of Joyce and Bobby Braswell. My wife is Shannon Braswell. I have 2 kids, Annabelle Jones and Foster Braswell. I'm a lifelong resident of Burke County. I've worked for McKinney Hotel for over 30 plus years. I just wanted to take time and make a voice for our district, because District 1 needs a new voice. We've had a good representation, but I would like for people to just know who I am and vote for me. Thank you.
Okay, next up are the candidates for County Commission District 3. We'll start with the incumbent, Evans Martin.
Hey, Lloyd, can you hear me?
Yeah.
My name is Evans Martin. I'm currently the commissioner for County Commissioner District 3. I'm seeking re-election. I've been a commissioner now almost 4 years. I'm married. My wife, Lloyd, 2 children, Clay and Ethan. I work for Graphic Packaging International, and also I'm a small business owner. My wife, she's employed with Georgia Department of Family and Children's Services. I have lived in Burke County my whole life. I love Burke County. I care for the future of our county, and I want to continue to serve the citizens of Burke County. Thank you.
Okay, next up is his challenger, George Wimberly.
Good afternoon. My name is George Wimberly. I'm the candidate for County Commission District 3. I live here in Burke County all my life. I attend the Waynesboro House, graduated in 1976. Received my bachelor's degree from Augusta State University in Payne College. I worked as a law enforcement officer there at the Sheriff's Department with various forces. And now I'm running for County Commission District 3. And I'd like for everybody to support me. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Next and last will be our candidates for State Senate District 23. I'm going to start with the Republican nominee, Max Burns.
Good afternoon. I appreciate the Chamber hosting this event and giving us an opportunity to share our thoughts. I'm Max Burns. I'm a candidate for Senate District 23. I'm a native of Scrivener County. Finished at Scrivener County High School, have an undergraduate degree from Georgia Tech in engineering, and then a master and a PhD in business from Georgia State. I had the privilege of serving Burke County in the United States Congress, 2003 through 2005. I have a wife of over 40 years and 2 grown sons. I'm in this race for one reason, and that's to represent you. I appreciate the support that Burke County has provided me in the past, and I look forward to serving you in the state Senate as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Max. Democratic nominee is Soretta Smith.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to the Chamber and to the True Citizen for hosting this forum and for the opportunity to be here this evening. Sorry. So a little bit about myself. I'm Soretta Smith. Again, I'm the Democratic nominee for State Senate District 23. I'm a wife. I've been married for 26 years. I've got children, all who are out of my house. I have a nest. None who have made me one yet, but I'm waiting for that. I am a United States Army veteran. I served 8 years in the military as a medic in the Army. I'm an entrepreneur. I do consulting where I train leaders, leadership development, and I'm a labor leader. I have represented people in the workforce, ensuring that they have safe and healthy work conditions and making sure that their rights are not violated. I have a bachelor's degree in the arts. I have a master's degree in guidance and counseling, and I have degrees in both business administration and business management. I'm a certified DISC behavioral analyst, and I am a Myers-Briggs certified practitioner. So I know a little bit about working with people from all walks of life. I've been on the front lines of the labor movement advocating for working Georgians, federal government employees, and veterans for many years, and I believe in human rights, civil rights, and workers' rights. And so I'm no stranger to the political process, and I understand the impact that policy has on our lives on a day-to-day basis. I don't come from a family of wealth. I don't come from a family with name recognition, but my parents instilled in me at an early age the importance of getting a good education and hard work. They pushed me to live the American dream, the dream that says regardless of where you're born or the status that you are born into, you have the right and you should be able to attain your version of success. So I stand before you today, Soretta Smith, candidate for State Senate, District 23. Thank you.
All right, thank you all. Radita Smith will be our first candidate. Come on up, Radita. I got a little question for you. Things have changed a little for you in your office in the last 4 years. You've moved into new facilities in the new judicial center. You've overseen the conversion of files and taken over traffic citations for the county. Tell us a little bit how that has affected you and your office, all these this transition.
Okay, that's a great question, moderator process. Change is a part of everyday life. I'm sorry. That's one change that we're all dealing with right now. Be safe now. Change is a part of our everyday life. Every day you wake up in the morning, there's a change. When I became clerk of Superior Court, there were a lot of changes that were already starting to happen, but as I became clerk, the Judicial Center was in process, but the groundbreaking happened when while I was clerk. And with the Judicial Center, can you imagine moving 100 years of history from one building to the next? Dust, finding stuff that you never realized was there. But we adapted to that change. We boxed those records up, we preserved them. We created online measures to make sure we keep that history, because history is what defines us. Our history that we look, when I'm gone, I want everybody to be able to look back and see that I was a part of the history and the previous clerks before me. But change in my office happens every day, whether it is through legislator or through just people coming in. But the biggest change right now that I think we all are facing is COVID. COVID has brought forth, through our court system, COVID has brought forth the use of WebEx, the use of being able to do stuff virtual versus in person. For our customers, we have established communication through email, through open our records up to be online. And with the traffic citations, we were prepared because we had already gotten ready for accepting citations from the sheriff's office through the establishment of credit cards. So once the transition happened, our customers were still able, despite transition and change, to make their payments online and not have to come in the office in person. But change has really affected our office, but through the support of a great staff adapting to change, it has made it that much easier to transition into change.
All right. Thank you, Radita.
Yeah.
Next up is Chief Magistrate Judge Andrew Palmer.
Thank you.
Judge Palmer, you are the, unless I'm mistaken, you're the first attorney to hold this position. Is that correct?
That's correct, Roy.
Tell me why that's important in this position.
Right. So, Roy, the magistrate court and the magistrate judges are asked and called on to serve really tough, nuanced legal issues, right? These are things that you don't just get knowledge of by commonplace. It doesn't happen, by everyday experience. These are real world issues where people are either owed money or we're either called on to protect people's constitutional rights, right? And so let me explain that. Magistrate judges, first and foremost, have the ability to, we have the ability to, and then we have the priority of certifying our arrest warrants, right? Arrest warrants, officers come into the office and they have information, or they figured out that a person needs to be arrested for some violation of the law, right? So as a judge and as an attorney, we go off to law school, we study the law, we know what the issues are that amount to a violation of the law because we study the law, right, for 3 years. And then after we study the law, we're called on to take the Georgia bar exam, right? And so we have to know the legal issues and the precedent behind the tough decisions that we're making. You know, we have to know the extent of Fourth Amendment searches and seizures because we also certify search warrants, and these are people's lives and liberty on the line, right? And so you don't pick up on this stuff by just being in the real world or picking it up by way of flow through. You have to study these really complex legal issues. And then we turn to our civil process. So our civil process, the magistrate court and magistrate judges are in a position to handle cases up to $15,000 in amounting controversy, right? And so these are, you know, contract issues. These are personal injury issues. You know, these are landlord-tenant issues. And there is real world precedent and legal precedent that goes behind making these decisions. It's not just a gut instinct that we can go on. You need to have an attorney in that position because those attorneys go to school, they study this material, they get out, they pass the Georgia bar exam, and in my case, and none like any other that's been in the office, as Roy pointed out, we study the law and we practice the law, right? Through practice, we develop a certain level of expertise. And that is what you need leading the office of Chief Magistrate Judge. You need somebody with the expertise, somebody that's personable, so that the lower judges and everyone in the office can come to you and ask you when they have a really tough or complex legal issue, right? It's a community. You need to have someone at the forefront or someone at the front of this office, leading this office, who you can rely on to make those tough decisions, who you can rely on to pick up a copy of the Georgia Code and know which section to turn to and figure out, hey, what is the statute that we need to refer to solve this issue? To pick up a copy or access LexisNexis, right, our legal databases, and pull up the case law that is controlling on that single issue that we have in front of the court at that moment. You got to have somebody in the office, leading that office, who is able to call on and pull on years of training and years of experience as an attorney to solve those tough legal issues for the citizens of Burke County. From our criminal arrest warrants, to our search warrants, to our civil issues. The citizens of Burke County deserve and need to have an attorney at the forefront of the office. I'm here to serve, and I hope that the citizens of this community will give me 4 more years. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the other candidates, Cynthia Kelly and Portia Washington, are not present. We're going to move on to probate court judge and incumbent Rex Myers. Rex, you've already talked about your experience as an attorney and how that is important in doing your job as probate judge. I got a question for you. You've held office now for a number of months now. What surprises have you had, and what have you learned about your office that you didn't know before you took it?
When I came in, the first thing you do is you watch, you look, you see how things have been working before I got there. Preston Lewis was an attorney, and he had served there for approximately 20 years in there. So he had a very rigid and established method of dealing with probate cases. So the first thing I did was I paid attention and observed what Preston Lewis had done. What I found was that he was a very demanding and exacting attorney. The work product that he did within the probate court was very high quality. So in terms of that, I didn't see much of anything that really needed to be improved upon. Now, a lot of people have said that Preston wasn't the friendliest person or that he was difficult to get along with. And I don't think that even he would contest that. But the work product, the legal work product that he did was outstanding. The critical thing that I saw that I already knew going in was that Preston Lewis was not a computer person. He, as other courts throughout the state, almost universally throughout the entire country, have began computerizing case management software and developing searchable, databases of court filings. Preston did not do that. So the probate court of Burke County operates now the way cases are filed, the way records are retained and indexed and stored. It's done now exactly the same way it 50 years ago or 75 years ago. Everything is still in paper form in bound books. And so the first thing we discussed and talked about was converting that to go in line with the rest of the world and to develop a computerized case management system. We were not able to do anything about that immediately due to budgetary issues. We had to wait until October 1st until the new budget cycle took effect. So we asked for additional funds from the county commission for the express purpose of developing computer software systems for this purpose. That money was approved, and we're currently in the process of negotiating with the company for that service. And I expect that we will have that online and functional probably by December 1st.
Well, your opponent has submitted a question for you. What improvements have you made to the office since you've been there? And I think you just answered it. So
yes, that's the primary thing. Other than that, the probate court it has a very strict and limited functions. Those functions have been carried out well.
all right. Thank you, Rex.
Yes, sir.
Next up is Ashley Moore. Ashley, you've said that being head of probate court requires more than being an attorney. What other sort of qualifications are needed, and what do you bring to the post?
Good question, Mr. Chalker. I've heard this said before, and I think it's vitally important. People don't care what you know until they know how much you care. So you can have all of the education and knowledge in the world, but if you don't have the empathy and or the passion, along with the resources and the ability to make connections, not just in the court, but around the community, you need to be able to make those connections with other sources around the state, because probate has a probate council. So there are other judges that you can lean on when you come into difficult positions or hard questions that need to be asked. So there also needs to be, because I believe that this is a service to the community, it's not just where you are an end all, but you are serving the community. So you need to also be able to be trustworthy, and people need to feel comfortable coming to even just talk to you about the issues that they have. So I think, to answer your question, you need more than just to know how to do it, but there also has to be communication and connections with the community and the people that you're serving, to say the least. And also there needs to be information that is going out to the community, and not just from one particular entity or medium of technology, but you also have to get out and touch the people. You need to have one of the things that I would love to institute if I am elected to the position of probate judge. I want to have the C2C, or the community to courts, which is an opportunity for the probate court to go to the community and talk to those stakeholders and make them aware of the services that the probate court can offer, and not just tell them this is how it has to be done, but hopefully in an effort to help them streamline their services that they need from the probate court.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Next up is our district attorney, Natalie Payne. Natalie, I'm going to ask a question here because I'm curious about it, and but I think it's relevant to what we've been discussing here today about your office. We haven't been able to have any jury trials for quite some time. What's going to happen when that lid comes off, when you're able to resume jury trials? Or do you have a big backlog, and how are you going to deal with it?
That's a great question. So a lot of that is going to be ultimately controlled by Judge Brown, because he is the chief judge for our circuit. But what we've been doing to try to combat that issue is instead of, there's a portion of cases that have to go to grand jury. And we recognized early on with the backlog that there are several cases that are really kind of, I wouldn't say insignificant, but they're not murders and armed robberies and things like that. So with those cases, we went ahead and accused them and offered defendants the opportunity to go ahead and waive the indictment by the grand juries, just so that we could go ahead and get the ball rolling. And we were able to get about 600-ish cases circuit-wide pushed through that way. So that eased some of our backlog. However, we've had a backlog from prior to COVID, and then obviously during COVID, we, crime has continued to occur. So we obviously have cases that still need to be handled. So basically what my team has been doing is assembling, each ADA has been assembling a list of 15 cases, and they're organized basically by priority, meaning that how long the case has been pending, how long the defendant might have been in jail, and the severity of the crime. And we're going ahead and reaching out so that we can go ahead and have witnesses under, knowing we're not exactly sure what day we're going to start trials, but basically we're going to go ahead and let you know that it could be, it could be November when we start back with our trials. And so essentially that way we won't have any kind of the logistical issues that we have sometimes in locating witnesses. So we're basically trying to go ahead and have all of that ready for each case, or the 15 cases on each person's list, so that we can go ahead and hit the ground running. As soon as we can open up with jury trials, we're going to start back and try as many cases as we possibly can. I know right now it's more or less, there was initially a plan to try 2 cases in Burke County and also 2 cases per week in Columbia County, but we're still waiting on some direction from Judge Brown about exactly how that logistically is going to work.
Do you think WebEx or the virtual format is here to stay for a lot of the activities in court?
I think it's certainly improved. Sometimes with our judges, they're also, like Rex was saying about Judge Lewis, a little apprehensive about the technology. So the one positive that did come out of COVID, I think, was the acceptance and the ability to see how easy it is to use that forum. And I do think to some degree it will be available. However, there are confrontation clause issues that give rise to objections from defendants, and obviously they have a right to confront their witnesses face to face if they so desire. So I do think we will probably see some integration of WebEx, but I don't know that it will be to the level that it was.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ashley Moore, no, I'm sorry, Jared Williams. You mentioned in your opening statement about the need for criminal justice reform. It's really a hot topic across the country. Be more specific. What can your office as district attorney do to implement criminal justice reform on the local level, on the area level?
Absolutely. Thanks for the question. We have to start looking at how we measure success in the criminal justice system. Success should not be measured by how many convictions we get. Success should be measured by how many lives we change. And so when you're asking yourself the question, how do I pursue a particular case? What charges do I bring? What resolution do I seek? We need to be asking ourselves, is this person more or less likely to commit a crime because of what we do? We should be outcome-based. And so when we talk about criminal justice reform, there's a lot of different things that we can do locally. One is we have to get to these kids early and often, because it's way easier to change 13, 14, 15-year-old's life than a 23 or 33 or 43 year Well, we have to recognize that when we have people who come through the system, when talking about people who get their first-time offenders, usually end up on first offender probation, we have a high recidivism rate, which means that the same person who was put on probation reoffends and ends up in prison anyway, or ends up with a felony record anyway. I don't want that to happen. If we're going to reduce crime, we have to prevent repeat offenses. And so in doing so, I've got a program called Checks Over Stripes, which helps first-time youthful offenders between 17 and 24 get life skills training. We work with businesses to hire them, get them jobs, and we work with retired educators to help them get their high school diploma. By addressing the economic deficit, the educational deficit, the life skills deficit, we address the issues that lead to criminality, which also reduces their likelihood to come back to the system. I want to break the cycle of incarceration. I want to end the school to prison pipeline. And lastly, there are cases that are really important. There are cases that that directly impact community safety. And so not everyone gets the nice friendly program that helps keep their record clean. Some people need to go to prison, and we need to make sure that we have our assistants be in the best position possible to make that happen. And so I propose that we will have division chiefs for major crime areas, violent crimes, sex crimes, high-level narco trafficking, and home invasions, so that we can actually make sure that our assistants are in the best position and are experts on those areas of crime that most directly impact community safety. The way that we do that without taking away from what's already being done, is we institute some basic efficiency into the office. Every major circuit around this state and around the nation has a pretrial diversion program. Every major circuit except ours. And so that's a day one change that we can make that helps these low-level cases get through the system without having a misdemeanor shoplifter standing next to a murderer. And we can make sure that we use our time more efficiently, use our resources more efficiently to address the crimes that most directly impact community safety, while giving people opportunities to keep their records clean and keep them on the right path. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, Rodney Braswell's up. He's candidate for County Commission District 1. His opponent is not here. Rodney, you mentioned your district needing some new leadership. What specific changes do you need or improvements do you need in your commission district?
Well, while I've been out there on the path of just talking to people, I found everything from garbage pickup to internet service to animal control that we've already got, but we're not seeing anything from it, to just the local municipalities like being in Keysville, Vidette, and Dalton Midville. They're wanting some help from our administration to upgrade their towns because they don't have any really economic growth. Midville has recently got a Dollar General. Keysville has not much. They need some help from the county to get their records straight to where they could get federal funding. I believe that we need to go in and put our resources together so we can get them on track to help them get more money, more funding, more grants. Because if we don't do that as a county, they are taxpayers in our county. They're not just citizens of Keysville. We need to help them out. We need to put our money. We have, over the last few years, have focused a lot of attention within a 2-mile radius of Waynesville. We built a $21 million courthouse. We built a $6.5 million Y. We've done numerous improvements around the local city of Waynesville, but we have failed on giving District 1 something other than just a paved road here, a paved road there. They need more than that. We deserve more than that. I'm in that group. And I believe that with me being there, that I'm going to focus. I want to do a long-term plan. I want to make something that's going to last for 10, 15 years that the county can set money for, not at all at one time, not make knee-jerk reactions, but do it over a long period of time so we can bring other things into District 1 like. I mean, honestly, if you've ever been out to Keysville or Vidette or Goff, you've got to find it's a long way to go get health care. So we would definitely love to have some kind of urgent care system out there to be able to have these people go to with a cut in their hand or somebody's child sick at night. You know, we need, you know, those type things we need. We need some. In Vidette, there was a situation a few years ago where they wanted to put a barbecue restaurant in. We as a county should have went into the state, and the state would not allow them to have a septic tank to accommodate that. We should have tried to step in and help to where they could have that. They need something like that. Without that, when we deny that privilege to them, then we're denying what we give the oath when we do take office that we're going to do for our community.
Thank you, Rodney. Okay, Evans Martin, you still with us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I got one here for you.
Okay.
You got a few years under your belt on the county commission now. You've been involved in budget work for a few years. And last 7 years, the county budget has grown from approximately 64 million to 91.5 million. Now, this has been during the construction of Plant Vogel, and local property owners have not been too much affected by that. But that's going to come to an end in about a year and a half, and the valuation of Plant Vogel is going to begin to decrease. How are you going to maintain this budget without putting additional burden on the local property owners?
Well, we have had some extra money with Vogel being here, and that has allowed us to do some things. We built an animal shelter that we much needed. We made a bunch of improvements to our recreation department for our kids and families to enjoy. We still continue to, put money in to support our hospital. We've also spent some money upgrading some of our departments, getting them up to date. We spent money with the sheriff trying to get him up to date. 911, we're spending money there trying to get it up to date. I think that with the continued growth going on in the county, with people moving in, North Burke County is really growing with the cyber community up there at Fort Gordon. We have a bunch of people moving in up there. We're working hard to get more industry in. I think with little to no debt that we have, and we've been working to build up our reserves, I think if we, we're steady seeking and getting grants with the grant money, the continued growth, and spend money where we need it and not where we just want it. I mean, I think we should be able to maintain.
Okay, thank you very much. George Wimberly? If you're elected, you'll be a new county commissioner. What kind of, you've been watching the situation for a while, what kind of improvements do you think they need to make?
Well, I'm working on Plant Vogel for about 7 years since I've been there. Let me touch on that just a few minutes. Let's use the trash situation. The dumpster down there, all throughout the county. Each and every day, we got people dumping in the dumpster, on the ground, all down side the road. If the county would just take time out and start collecting money for those people down there, both that work down there but don't live here, you can create new jobs for people to work on the road department. Okay, another thing, what we need to do is look at moderator on the recreation facility. I ride the county. Back in 1976 and 75, when we had other commissioners on the board, the county was booming with recreation. Anything that the kids wanted to do for as recreation, it was there for them. We don't have that for the kids now. Out in Keysville, the area, Tesla, and back down this way, it's a long way for parents to take their kids to recreation. The mom and dad is working every day. The kids are home. Summer break. They want to go to the park. It's too far for them. They don't have a way. Why can't we put parks throughout the county, in the northern part, wherever they need to go, the south part, wherever they need to go for kids to be able to walk to those recreation facilities and have a good time without the parents being afraid of them getting hurt up here. This is what we need to look at.
Thank you, George. Okay, Senate District 23. We're getting a little pressed for time, so I'm going to, after these two candidates here, then I'm going to have to put a time limit on the second round of questions because I only got about 15 minutes. Max Burns, would you come up and let me put you in the hot seat for a minute? We got a pandemic going on. Got about 600,000 people in Georgia that don't have any health care coverage. And our governors for the last several terms have refused to invoke the Medicaid expansion in the state. What's your position on Medicaid expansion?
I support Medicaid expansion, ADA, Affordable Care Act, ACA. I don't support it in its current form. I support the governor's position and the legislature's position of requesting a waiver, and that individuals who qualify would be allowed to enroll in Medicaid, but they would have to have skin in the game. Each of us, as we enjoy the partnership of healthcare, we have to participate. That means that we pay a small premium, we have a copay, we are active participants with both our physician and our insurance company or Medicaid. So I support expanding Medicaid in Georgia but with a participation by the citizen to ensure that they get the best quality health care available in Georgia, in Burke County.
All right, while I got you up here in the interest of time, I'm gonna ask you another question.
Sure.
Incident down in Brunswick where it caused a lot of problems when the guys tried to arrest a young black man who was running through the neighborhood. Citizens arrest, big topic. What's your position on citizens arrest?
A tragic event. Candidly, citizens in any community should not take the law into their own hands. That wasn't a citizen's arrest. That was a situation where citizens took into their hands the decision to actually go out and enforce the law. Dial 911. Get the sheriff to deal with the challenges in your community. I will never support citizens acting in a criminal way. On the same vein, I will always support our law enforcement. I'm concerned about the word reform. I'm concerned about the concept of quote unquote criminal justice reform. That would suggest that it's broken, and I would tell you it is not broken. Look at your community. Look at what your sheriff has done and recognize the value of that service. I acknowledge that no one is perfect. Every law enforcement officer should be in that position. They should not wear the badge, and we have to weed those out. But the reality is you have to have leadership, you have to have standards, you have to have training so that you can have a safe community.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Soretta Smith. I think I'm going to ask you the same question. What about your position on Medicaid expansion and how we're going to get health care to the 600,000 Georgians that currently don't have it?
Well, I support fully expanding Medicaid. I don't support Medicaid expansion that has criteria that are attached to them. I believe that we need to fully expand it. There are people who can't afford to pay a $12 copay, who can't afford to pay a $20 or $30 copay. The funding is there. We need to fully expand it, especially living in the COVID era that we're in, especially when Black and brown people are disproportionately being affected by COVID-19, especially when most of the people who are of those 500,000 people who don't have the health care insurance, many of whom live right here in Burke County, are Black and brown people. It needs to be fully expanded, not with criteria, not with certain types of policies attached to it. The money's been given by the federal government. Georgia is one of 3 states that has refused to fully expand it. We've had 10 years. It's not a party issue, it's a people issue. People are dying every day because they cannot get access to health care. So I, along with the other 41 Democrats that are running, when we flip the state blue, we're gonna push to fully expand Medicaid. Whether you have a $10 copay or not, you will have access to health care.
Okay, let me go ahead and ask you a second question. Max says he's not necessarily in favor of overhauling the criminal justice system in order to achieve criminal justice reform. I want you to address the citizens arrest issue first, but I want you to also talk about criminal justice reform and how you would approach it.
So I have this thing I call the genesis. And there are certain situations when I'm looking at them and I'm analyzing them, I say, let's go back to the genesis of this. Where did this citizens arrest law begin? When was it passed? We know that in 1863 it was passed. It's the same time that Lincoln passed the Emancipation Proclamation. And this law was passed to give white men the right to arrest runaway slaves. Well, slavery is over. Black people are not running anymore, so there's no need for it. It's an antiquated law. It's antiquated. It's very dangerous. We see that. We saw that happen when people misinterpret and abuse the law. We see what happens. We see Ahmaud Arbery, who's out for a jog, who is shot down, who's murdered, who's killed in the street. And he's buried right here in Waynesboro. And so I support repealing this law. I do agree with my opponent. If you see a crime, call 911. and let the people that have been trained and hired and who've taken an oath to serve and protect, let them handle the situation. But we need to repeal the citizen's arrest. The purpose that it was intended for no longer exists.
Thank you very much. Okay, am I clear? Are we at the 1 hour mark? Is that our time limit? No, I think I think that a lot of the answers have been very comprehensive and have probably covered most of the subjects that I already had. So what I'm going to do at this point is ask the candidates in the same order to summarize your positions on some of the issues. I can give you about 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes, and anything that came up from your opponent during the question and answer segment, if you want to respond to that, we'd have to give you that opportunity. I'm going to start with Radita.
Mr. Chalker, Mr. Chalker and the congregation, to the citizens of Burke County, I would just like to take this opportunity to thank Ashley and the Chamber of Commerce and Mr. Chalker and the True Citizens and the citizens of Burke County and everybody that participated today, just for allowing me to participate in this forum. And also, I would like to thank the citizens of Burke County for allowing me to serve as your clerk of the Superior Court for the last 3.5 years. And I look forward to continue serving as your clerk of Superior Court. I ask you for your support and your vote. Radita Smith as clerk of Superior Court. Thank you.
Thank you, Radita. Andrew Palmer. I got my stopwatch running.
Thank you, Roy. Thank you to the citizens of Burke County for this opportunity. I want to leave everybody by saying that Burke County is truly an ecosystem, right? You need to have the best people for the job in each position so that we can better serve the citizens of this community. This is about public service. You know, this is not about titles. This is not about authority. This is about the citizens of Burke County. And we should be here today. We should devote ourselves to serving our citizens to the highest degree possible. You need to have an attorney in the office of Chief Magistrate Judge. You need to have the office where it is situated to serve not only one subset of the population, but the entire community. That is, making sure that our business owners and our citizens have the absolute best when it comes to interpreting complex legal issues. And then also you need to have a tireless public servant at the helm, right? At the helm of the office. You know, I tell this story to everybody. A lot of times I wake up at 2 a.m. I'm a bad insomniac. I wake up at 2 a.m. and I'm racking my mind to think about ways how I can better serve this community. That's where I got the idea from about my People's Law School, you know, and other ideas I've had. Our Legal Scholars Program that seeks to reach out and impact our kids in a positive manner. That is what tireless public service is about. It's not about an individual. It's not about a government office. It's not about position, because at the end of the day, we are collecting taxpayer dollars, and we deserve to serve them to the highest degree possible. I'm Andrew Palmer, your current appointed Chief Magistrate Judge. I would be absolutely honored for the people, the citizens of Burke County, to formally elect me, write in Andrew Palmer on the ballot. We have kind of a weird issue this year for Chief Magistrate Judge. When you go to the polls, it's not going to have anyone's name there. It's going to have write in. I want you to use that stylus that they give you and tap that screen. Once you tap that screen, a keyboard is going to pop up, and I want you to type in Andrew Palmer, common spelling, ANDREWPALMER, and I look forward to serving the citizens of Burke County for the next 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Probate Court Judge Rex Myers.
Mr. Chalker, nobody walks into probate court without a reason. Some people come to get a concealed weapons permit. Some people come to get a marriage license. These are functions that are covered by the probate court and things that we do every day. But this is not the court's judicial role. It's not the core function of probate court. And that is wills and estates. When a person dies, whether or not they had a will or they did not have a will, their estate goes through probate process. An administrator or an executor has to be appointed to handle that person's affairs, to manage the payment of debts, to ensure the orderly transfer of assets. That can be land, houses, cars, pictures on the wall and jelly jars, but all of this has to be transferred from one generation to the next, and it has to be done in accordance with Georgia law. Every aspect of probate court is strictly governed by substantive and procedural law, and these have to be followed. The judge has to understand these rules. The attorneys that file petitions in probate court, they have to understand those rules. If they do not understand it, then their petitions are defective and the entire process is worthless. The judge has to understand all of these rules and procedural aspects because the work has to get done properly, it has to get done correctly, because that is the only way that anyone can have reliance on the work product that they are receiving when they come to probate court. Empathy is important. These are families that have a dead relative, they are grieving. And so I understand you need to be able to converse with them and explain these things to them in a way they understand and be receptive to their needs. But the reason you want an attorney in that job is to make sure it gets done correctly.
Thank you. Ashley Moore Jr.
Thank you to the chamber. Thank you, Mr. Chalker, for allowing me this opportunity, to the citizens of Burke County. Listen, being an attorney is not enough. That's cool, but we're all going to go through the same training, whether you're an attorney or an associate magistrate judge. At the end of the day, you're going to be trained on how to properly handle the job of being a probate judge. I'm asking for the citizens of Burke County to consider three things: service that is par excellence, making sure that you're educated on what the probate court can do, and someone you can trust at the end of the day. So here's what I'm asking for everybody before November 3rd and until that day: set the bar with Ashley Moore. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, final thoughts from District Attorney Natalie Payne.
Thank you to the chamber for having me today. I appreciate the opportunity to come before you and kind of tell you about myself. I think the most important thing that I need to address here is that the district attorney, much like what some of some of the people that went before me said, we have a duty to enforce the law. In fact, it's part of my oath that I take as a district attorney. And without the rule of law, without the adherence to the law, what you have is chaos. It is not my job to decide what laws I will enforce and what laws I will not enforce. That is the job of the legislature. And when you get outside and you give the power to a district attorney to not only act as the enforcement of the law, but also act as the creator of the law, that is a situation that promotes very bad scenarios, chaos. It also prevents businesses from wanting to come to your area when they can't have a reliance that the law is going to be followed. Additionally, some of the things that was mentioned earlier by my opponent are very problematic because of the experience that I have in the past 12 years from being the district attorney. It is a flat out impossibility to do many of the things that he intends to do without almost doubling our budget. And my job is to be fiscally responsible, to do the functions that I am by law required to do. It is not my job to continue doing things post-adjudication with a case. Once there is a finality to the case, at that point it becomes a probation or parole issue. So I think that it's important. We cannot just throw out the rule of law. We cannot elect people that do not intend to enforce the law as written. My experience has proven to be one of many years of trying cases, being an administrator within the office, and I would very much appreciate your support in November.
Thank you, Natalie. And now Jared Williams.
Thank you to the chamber. Thank you to the true citizen. Again, my name is Jared Williams, and I'm running for district attorney because we need real change. We need a community that is protected, that is reflected, and that is respected by the district attorney's office at every level. Burke County needs a full-time prosecutor, needs a full-time staff from the DA's office. Burke County has never had that. They will, starting day one, under my administration. There's nothing fiscally responsible about losing the majority of the cases and spending tens of thousands of dollars on trials and not getting conviction because you don't have experts who are focused on specific areas of law. There's nothing fiscally responsible about not having a pretrial diversion program that allows for lower level cases to get through the system without the entire court process that we do for high level felonies. There's nothing fiscally responsible about kicking the can down the road as opposed to actually addressing crime and reducing crime, not just reacting to it. And so I'm Jared Williams. I'm going to bring a new style of prosecution that works for this community and every community in our circuit, that puts Burke County on the same level as every other county, and that understands that justice is not one size fits all, and we need punishments that fit the crime. We need strong prosecutors who will do the work to protect these people and actually reduce crime in our community. Thank you. God bless you. I'm Jared Williams, and I'm asking for your vote. Thank you.
Thanks, Jared. Next up is Rodney Braswell, candidate for County Commission, District 1.
First of all, I want to say I was very honored to receive the invitation to come here today. Thank you to the chamber, and thank you to really talking to citizens. As I had on my mailer, make a change, make a difference. We have the opportunity to make a change in this county. We've already elected one new county commissioner. If y'all elect me, then we have the opportunity to really to change the way we look at things. We have the opportunity in this county to open up our northern corridor to cyber community, to bring it in, build a long-lasting tax base in this community. And I would appreciate your vote. I thank you for this opportunity again. My name is Rodney Brown.
All right, next up is Evans Martin, the incumbent county commissioner for District 3.
Thank you, Roy, and thank the chamber for allowing me to call in today and participate. Real quick, I want to say that we as a board are working hard on getting the rural broadband throughout the county. You know, with the COVID going on, we don't know what the future holds for our kids in school, and I think it's very important to get this thing going as quick as we can to where if something does happen, all our kids and everybody will be able to use the internet to do their school and whatever else they may need to do. Also, the trash. As y'all know, I've been fussing and working on trash for the last 4 years I've been in there, and finally we've been meeting with contractors, getting ideas, and I think as a board we've got a plan. We've made a trip up to Carolina to look at some of their convenience centers, the way they've got them set up. I think we've got a plan to start implementing some of them and some other things, and hopefully by the end of this year we'll be out for bids on things and get the trash issue rolling. And lastly, I'd like to say that I would appreciate everybody's vote and continued support as a county commissioner for District 3, and I'll work to continue to help Burke County grow and prosper. Thank you.
Thank you. A few thoughts from George Wimberly.
And for everyone that is here today, the mind goes in the mind is in order to grow, you got to come together. That's the only way. You got to show love also. It doesn't matter what you intend to do. If you don't have those tools, you're not going to make it. But in this closing, I would like to ask everyone here that what can we do to help one another and to help this county grow and be successful. As I go out campaigning, before I can say anything to those people out there, I said, what do you want? They'll respond back to me and say, no, what do you want? I said, no, sir. I'm here for you. Tell me what you want. And that's what we'll do. Thank you.
Thank you. Max Burns.
I'd like to add my thanks to the chamber and the true citizen. Senate District 23 is important to all of us. It's really about representation. Who can best represent this diverse district? 11 counties, an hour and a half from end to end, about 110 or 15 miles. I've driven them multiple times. It's about knowledge. It's about experience. It's about a conservative voice in Atlanta. You can't have rural broadband without a rural perspective. I grew up on a farm in Scriven County. You can't have education, true education, either digital or presence-based education, without experience in education. 30 years in the university system of Georgia. You can't have a knowledge of business and growth and the economy and the expansion of the economy if you haven't been in business. I've owned my own business. I was in business and industry in Atlanta for over a decade. I worked for Fortune 500 companies, and I worked for small businesses, so I understand business. I think the bottom line is, who's best equipped to serve you? I would appreciate your vote and support on November 3rd. I'm Max Burns. I'm a candidate for Senate District 23. Thank you.
Thank you, Max. Soretta Smith, last candidate.
So I want to address two things. First, I want to say that I support law enforcement. I believe that a society without law enforcement would look like chaos. So I support our law enforcement. I have family members in law enforcement. I believe that we need law enforcement. I want to do everything I can to support law enforcement. But I also say that to deny that our criminal justice system does not have a problem, it means that you're out of touch. You're out of touch with one of the problems that is going on right now in our society. And I think what we need to do is we need to come to the table. Law enforcement, citizens, leadership, we need to come to the table, and we need to have some courageous conversations. And we need to talk about some tough things, but we need to come together and we need to work together so that we can live in a safe and a fair society where everyone is treated equally and justly. In terms of voting for me, I want to tell you that, as he said, Theodore Roosevelt said, well, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I want the small business owners out there to know that I care about you. I'm a small business owner. I lost every contract that I had this year and every potential contract, so I know what you're going through. I want single parents to know that I care about you. I care about the single parents that are having to work 2 and 3 jobs just to put food on the table and to keep a roof on their head and clothes on their children's back. That's why we need living wages. We need someone that's going to fight for working families. I care about our farmers that are struggling, many who risk losing the farms that have been in their families for generation to generations. I care about people that have children or loved ones with developmental disabilities, autism, all these types of developmental disabilities, but we're gutting public health. When I get to the Capitol, I'm going to be fighting for public health. I'm going to be fighting to expand Medicaid because I understand the difficulties of having children with autism and developmental disabilities. When you leave this place today, what I want you to take away from this is that it's not enough just to have experience, but you've got to have a candidate who not only has the experience, which I do have the experience, but someone who's in touch with the people, someone who's going to fight for the people, someone who's going to put the people over party, someone who is going to speak up even in their party and tell the party, this is not right. This is not a party issue. This is a people issue. And the people put us in these seats. The seats belong to the people. And we need to come together. We need to stop pointing fingers. We need to stop fighting amongst each other. And we need to do what the people sent us here to do. That is to pass policy and legislation so that they can be successful, so that they can live the American dream. My name is Soretta Smith. I am the fresh voice that this district needs because I care.
Thank you. Well, we ran out of time before I ran out of questions, but I think the candidates did a very good job of covering the important issues in each of their races, and I want to congratulate them and thank them for taking part. Ashley, thank you.
Thank you, Roy, and I want to thank Roy Chalker and the True Citizen for co-hosting this event. I'm Ashley Roberts with the Burke County Chamber of Commerce. I think we learned during the forum that we had a little delay, so y'all missed all the wonderful remarks I said in the beginning, but I'll spare you those because I think that we're running a little short on time. But there were a couple of things I did just want to mention. Again, I want to thank all of our candidates, all of the candidates that were able to be here with us today and some that were not able to. I want to thank all of you for your willingness to serve our community. We all know that this is not always a fun process, but you're willing to put yourselves out there to serve our community, and we appreciate that. We also had a couple of sponsors for today's event that I wanted to recognize. AT&T and Oglethorpe Power were sponsors to help make this event happen. We appreciate that. And we also had members of the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority who stepped in and provided refreshments. Y'all make sure and visit the table on your way out for our candidates. So I want to thank you all again for joining us, and thank you all, the ones that were able to be here with us, and just remind everybody to go out and vote. Thank you very much.